is your Venus in Pisces reading. And now that Venus has changed signs, your style of relating may also change. What you're attracted to, who you attract into your life. And this is a period where you may need someone who is very emotional, very sympathetic, somebody who is intuitively attuned to your needs, your desires, and your wants without you even having to verbalize those. And you yourself could be very emotional, very sensitive, highly impressionable right now. And sometimes you may find it difficult to express your true feelings or the depth of your emotions or your love. This is a cycle where sex is not necessarily all that important to your relationship. You're more drawn toward affectionate demonstrations like kissing or hugging or just being close. Now, this can be due to a tendency toward spiritual beliefs or religious values that have a bearing on physical intimacy. On the other hand, you may have a longing to merge with another person, and you may view sex as a spiritual experience of deep connection. Whatever the nature of your relationship, you want someone who's going to give everything, hold nothing back, because Pisces is a sign very inclined to merging, having that experience of feeling as one. And it's a period where, because, Neptune is the ruler of Pisces, you tend to idealize your mate. You may project characteristics or endow them with virtues that they may or may not possess. You may not see love quite so clearly at this time. And you may even, be willing to suffer in the name of love. In fact, this is a transit that's very much so like Venus in the 12th house. There are things that are not readily understood. There could be hidden issues within your relationship. You may prefer to spend a lot of quiet time alone with someone you care about, or you may find yourself involved in some kind of clandestine or hidden affair. There could be some reason that you want to keep love, on the down low. You don't want others to know, or you're being discreet or careful about your relationship and exposing it to the public eye. It may be that, you're dealing with a situation, a partner who is in need in some way. There's a tendency toward wanting to save. And so you may play the role of savior for a partner or vice versa. This person may be dealing with some kind of mental health challenge or physical issues, addictions, maybe alcohol, drugs. Pisces is the sign of the saint or the sinner, and you may attract someone on either side of the track. You may draw someone who's very spiritual, very meditative, reflective, strong sense of values, or you may invite someone into your life who's a con, somebody who's a liar, opportunist, may even have a criminal element to their background. So you have to be careful, because this is a period where you yourself may be more laid back, more submissive, and so you could be frequently imposed upon or taken advantage because your judgment is lacking, and primarily because there's a fixation on emotions. Now, this can, again, sometimes lead you to direct your affections where love is not really going to be reciprocated. That gift for compassion, for loving someone unconditionally, may be detrimental to your own well-being. So this is a period where it's very important that you learn to estimate others accurately so that you can receive love or whatever you're giving in equal measure, in return. Now, the good thing is that this Venus is in the very same placement she was last cycle, which is in the partnership zone, which means that if you have issues, This is a period where those can easily be resolved, depending on your level of compromise, negotiation, diplomacy. In fact, relationships of all kinds are prone to improvement right now, whether it is social, romantic, or business oriented. Even those that you may have had some kind of conflict with in the past, you may find that it's easy to work out your differences during this period. So whether a relationship improves or deteriorates right now depends on how effectively you can relate and what the situation is. This is a period where you really gain an advantage by knowing how to negotiate, knowing how to compromise with others. But the issue is, especially with Pisces, is the tendency to go a little bit too far in that. You may not have really healthy boundaries. Maybe you defer your personal needs to the wishes, the needs, the demands of the other person. Now, in some cases, perhaps that's working for both of you. But in other cases, you are suppressing your own identity. You're giving up your own rights, and you may be putting yourself in harm's way. Maybe you're trying to appease your partner because keeping that relationship means everything. It could be you're feeling some measure of conflict. There are things that you want to do. You want to live a particular way. You have certain goals, and yet you're conflicted with satisfying those needs against that of a partner. And so you have to be careful that the relationship does not become so important to you that you are not important to you. But again, this is a cycle where you can work and benefit if you are cooperative with others. Venus tends to bring benefit wherever she lands, given good aspects, of course. And in certain signs, she's more powerful than others. Of course, in her own sign, she has rulership and dominion. But in Pisces, she is an exalted guest, which means it's not her house, but they're rolling out the red carpet for her. So this is a beneficial placement, and it's a great time to ask for favors, ask for assistance, and people who are normally hostile towards you may be very receptive to those overtures. So your ability to get along with others has a direct impact on your success. Now, this is Venus in Pisces, so the houses in your chart where Venus is the ruler, as well as the sign of Pisces, has some bearing on a situation. Now, for some of you, there may be some kind of uncertainty surrounding resources. There may be issues where one of the partners is experiencing some kind of work challenge, maybe unemployed, or a lack of funds, or something is connected to the jointly held resources or assets that you share that may have a bearing on your own well-being or may impact you in some way. And that may be a cause of concern, your shared resources. Another thing, you may be questioning sexual orientation or experimenting, or perhaps, again, applying spiritual values in your sexual relationship. Now, the major theme for this cycle is the moon, which is all about, in some cases, secrets. And so you may be dealing with issues that are deep-rooted in your relationship. It could be issues that are playing out based on psychological tension from childhood patterns, conditioning from your parents, and that bearing on your relationship. In some cases, your relationship is undergoing some kind of change. Whatever's happening between you is unsettled. And the conditions are changing perhaps at a moment's notice. It's one thing one day and something else some other day. You may be focused on traveling, or perhaps having a child, your role as a mother. Again, it could be a parental influence that has some bearing on your relationship. And, you can be very intuitively linked to your partner right now. There may be feelings that you're getting, some kind of foreboding about something happening between you. Maybe you feel like you're going to hear something negative from your partner, and that may very well be true. Others of you, there's some area of your relationship that may be prone to deception. And, depending on your situation, depends on how serious that is. Maybe you've been in self-denial about something connected to your alliance that needs to be worked on, or something that's just not right. And it does reinforce that theme of Venus in Neptune, seeing people not exactly as they are, but more so as we wish them to be. So this is about being very vigilant to get to the root of any problems within your relationship. Again, some of you, maybe being a mother is very important, or your children are the focus, or having a child. But your own deep instinctual forces are also at play here, and the tendency to self-sabotage, to undermine your relationship, the tendency toward self-deception is important. So there are strong emotions running through your relationship right now. And it means that a couple of things you're having to take a closer look at, and you're having to be honest with yourself about what's going on between you and another person, or what's keeping you in a relationship, what's blocking you from a relationship. Some of you, maybe there's some physical issues that have an impact on your intimacy. So you're looking at changes. For some of you, these are financial worries that are ongoing. And, finances can be one of the reasons that there is conflict and tension in a relationship, to the point where you separate. So it could be that you're obsessing over something, and what you really need to do is stand back. It's counterproductive to what you hope to achieve in this relationship. Now, for some of you, there are secrets taking place, and anything that you've been hiding or a partner has been hiding is likely to be revealed during this period. As far as your material concerns, you have the Chariot. So once again, travel may be a major theme, or reaching a certain objective, a particular goal. Some of you may be trying to reconcile differences between you, or you're reconciling those differences within yourself. This is working with the light and the shadow. And maybe, trying to bring two opposing forces onto the same path. So, some of you, maybe there are issues connected to, an interracial difference, or perhaps religious difference, whatever kind of difference. You may be trying to reconcile those, or looking at where you're finding it very difficult to find what the purpose is of your relationship. So some of you are being very assertive. There's some need to control a situation. There's a drive here. And your attitudes, your moods, your view, your perspective, it all has a very strong influence on your partner. And it may be more so than you even realize. The Chariot card says you need to work as a team to achieve a goal. It's not conducive to relationship if one of you is running over the other, being insensitive, only fulfilling your own needs. Now, in this card, the Chariot, we see this person with the reindeer, and reindeer have a meaning. They mean wisdom, resourcefulness, creativity. And so you may need to be resourceful about how you try to achieve a goal together. Again, there could be issues related to travel, to communication, changes that affect you personally, professionally, and financially. And it's the need for leadership in your relationship, but also recognizing the strengths and weaknesses of both of you. There are situations that are going to occur in this cycle that perhaps you are better equipped to deal with than your partner. And if that's the case, you should take the lead. But there are also times when your partner has a greater strength, and you should recognize that. And in those instances, allow your partner to take the reins. So this is working in tandem, truly getting in touch with the other person and recognizing who you are as a team, as a couple, and what you can achieve, what your mutual goals are, what the destination is. This is a cycle that means your patience is going to be tested in some way. And something that you want to move forward may be delayed, or there could be some miscommunication or some inconveniences that you have to deal with. And part of it is attitude. Maybe, putting too much pressure on your relationship by believing that only one person or one situation or outcome can make you happy. And if it doesn't play out like that, then, you lose your confidence. But maybe you're investing too much in the wrong place. So there are some circumstances that are going to play out during this cycle that are beyond your control, specifically because maybe you made some kind of personal miscalculation. And so something that you were hoping to move forward may not move as quickly or as smoothly as you want it to, because one or more aspects of your relationship is entering some kind of new phase, and it's going to open your eyes to something. It's going to broaden your horizons, expand your view if you're paying close attention. Now, again, this is material in nature, so it could be that you are moving forward towards some kind of goal, hopefully mutual in nature, that may have to do with travel. It may have to do with maybe having children. It may have to do with even a vehicle. So you are moving forward towards some kind of targeted goal. Matters probably will move quickly unless there is a glitch. Now, as far as the love aspect, you have the Seven of Pentacles. And so this is the second reaffirmation that patience is required. Whatever you're doing, you might want it to move quickly, but time and patience is involved here. In fact, with these two sevens, it says you're going to have delays and that your decisions should not be rushed. So you are taking stock of something. Some investment of yours, what you've invested in the relationship, a goal, some endeavor, and really taking a closer look to see what you might be getting out of it. Is the yield, the harvest, what you expected? So it seems that this cycle is very much so about taking a closer look at your endeavors and your relationships, where you've been investing most of your time, your money, your energy, your emotions, and perhaps moving forward in a way where each of you gain respect for the other person. But for some of you, especially if there's been some reckless, impulsive behavior, some insensitivity, some anger, someone running over the needs of others, any kind of negativity or resistance or pushback or uncertainty or confusion that you happen to encounter, and it doesn't really matter how great or small, you may feel like this is it. This is the last straw. You don't want to deal with it. Game over. It may be that you're just holding on to something, some kind of grievance or some slight, whether it was valid or not, or you're worrying about something. Again, could be financial in nature, but it's disproportionate to the actual circumstance. Now, again, maybe there's some issue where some aspect of the person you're with, their earning potential is in jeopardy, and in turn, that affects you in some way. So this is a cycle for those of you under those circumstances where you probably really need to seriously consider doing something to restructure your relationship so that it is better suited to both of you, or that you can make decisions to move forward. Now, as far as the expectation, you have the Two of Wands. So again, we're doing another review of joining forces. What your ambitions are you working on them together? So it's important that you're realistic, which is going to be a little bit difficult while Venus is in Pisces. It's not a time to be idealistic, more so realistic. You're looking at situations and the opportunity to make some changes. So something is coming up. Some opportunity may be on the table, maybe to join forces, to expand, to travel, a pursuit. And you have this opportunity to either take it or not. So you may use this moment to prove some kind of point in your relationship or receive some kind of vindication, or maybe you remove yourself from something. Because this is a cycle where how you feel about someone, how strongly you're attached to, is about to change. It's either going to grow stronger or it's going to decrease. Now, some of you, maybe are wanting to move forward. You're waiting, and maybe you're waiting and procrastinating because you're doubting yourself, or you're not getting the support from a partner you were hoping for, or you're meeting with some kind of resistance. But that indecision that you're harboring within you, that impressionability, makes you vulnerable to being intimidated or manipulated, especially when you don't trust your gut instinct, when you don't listen to your intuition, that inner voice. But before you recklessly or impulsively move forward on a decision or taking some kind of action, it is imperative that you get your facts straight. You may put on a show, a temper tantrum, an argument, a confrontation, and realize that you were making some kind of mistake, that you weren't clear on what was actually happening. Maybe you're making a decision based on an assumption, in which case, there's going to be an unpleasant fall from grace. So you are doing some kind of review. The expectation is to review. The expectation may be to join forces with someone, to come to some kind of mutual decision. Will you do that? Now, the challenge is the Two of Cups. So it's a challenge, this review. Maybe it has to do with finances. Maybe it has to do with someone taking advantage of, or, not listening to their intuition about a situation. But the Two of Cups says you are looking at your partnerships. You're looking at who you're involved with, and again, what you're getting out of it. Some of you, maybe you're dealing with an ex-partner, or you're dealing with somebody who has violated your trust, or you feel that someone is taking, but they're not really giving. So you're looking at your connections, your attractions, the mutuality of it. Is this a happy union? Is this emotionally balanced? Maybe you're trying to repair your relationship, or you're taking your relationship to the next level. Maybe you're going to get engaged, or you're going to reconcile. Or if you've been on the outs, maybe you end your hostility. In other cases, this may center on some kind of contract, agreement, something that's legally binding. Whatever the situation is, it's your emotions that impel action and your response. You may be a very strong opponent to someone, or you may be their strongest ally, depending on what you feel toward that person. Because again, events during this cycle are going to strengthen your affection, your loyalty, your devotion, or they're going to stoke your suspicion and your irritation with another person. Now, in the positive, you're doing this review, you're looking at your investment, you want to make peace, you want to move forward, there are plans that you have. And so you may be willing to look at something from the other person's vantage point. You may be more understanding, more compassionate. But if you feel that your partner is patronizing you, or there's some uncertainty surrounding circumstances, what once would have been a happy situation or some happy goal is going to start feeling very uneasy. And you may start to think, at one time this was the person, the love of my life. I just couldn't live without this person. And then you may find that this person is on your last nerve. So the challenge is trying to compromise, trying to maintain that mutual respect, honor, and love between you. And this is what you're probably reviewing. Now, the outcome is this Two of Pentacles, which may mean that, one of you is juggling a lot of obligations, maybe unfairly so, or there's been some kind of change in the environment. This is a period where now you're really going to have to be quick on your feet, trying to keep those balls in the air. And in some cases, it is about the finances. It's about not having enough resources, or having to juggle your agenda or your budget or your itinerary. And so in the positive, some unexpected good luck is going to come your way. Something is going to crop up when and where you least expect. And you may find that it's easy to juggle your responsibilities or the desires of both you and your partner. Maybe you find some way to restructure a situation that stabilizes your economic future because you're focusing on some long-range benefits. But for others of you, something is spread just a little bit too thin. Your emotions, your resources, and you're making some changes. And you may, in some cases, try to avoid others. And by any means, saying that you're sick or, creating some kind of imaginary situation where you don't have to deal with the other person. You may be looking at your finances where you're having to withdraw funds that were earmarked for one thing. Now you've got to put them towards something else. And all of this comes down to being unrealistic and, as a result, feeling irritable, depressed, or like you're on an emotional seesaw. But this card also has an egg on it. And eggs represent symbols of life. So again, we have this focus, the review. Maybe, do we want to have a child? Do we want to have another child? Do we want to rebirth our relationship, renew it, rejuvenate it? And so this is a fertile period. And, maybe you're looking at regenerating your finances in some way. But with the two as an outcome, this is just a smaller portion of the larger story that is unfolding. It's not the end. You have one major card, and it's the Chariot card. Well, you have two major cards, the Moon and the Chariot. So there's some uncertainty, some emotions involved in moving forward. Some of you, this may connect to a Pisces or a Cancer person. But for others of you, this is just about, again, that level of attachment. How close are you? And how you respond to others depends on what you feel like you're receiving. This is a period of delays where you're having to really think about decisions, and it centers on exchanges with others, transactions, and development of ideas. And so with all these twos, there's a lot of duality taking place, a lot of choices. Which side are you on? So you're feeling very emotional. You want to move forward. You're waiting perhaps to reconcile, to make peace, to consider whether you should. You're reviewing your finances, your ambitions, your goals, your partnerships. And largely because there's been some kind of change or shift, whether that is a change of environment, a change in your financial status, or a change that's occurring within your connection.